Hey, sixth graders, this video is going to talk you through how I'm going to grade the fast food project. This is going to take you step by step so you can check your own work before you turn it into me, okay? There will not be redos on this assignment since I'm taking you through step by step and showing you what to change if you need to, okay? So this is your fast food project instruction sheet. I am going to scroll down to the grading sheet and go through it with you step by step. This is on your Google Classroom, so you can look at it on your own if you would like. So it is all the way down. Not this. This was just a list of your checkpoints. It's going to be a little further down right here. Okay, this is your grade sheet. It's set up like our normal rubrics where you can earn 4, 3, 2, or 1 point based on what you've done. So the first thing I will look at is your logical setup. On your spreadsheet, all you need to do is check and make sure that you have set it up similar to the way we did in class, where you have your restaurant name, and then you have column headings explaining your nutrients that we researched. So calories, fat, make sure that you have the unit of measure in there, okay? So in parentheses, a small g means grams. Sodium, small mg in parentheses shows that that's the unit of measure. For protein, it is grams as well, so it should look like this. Inside your numbers, there should not be any words like calories or g or mg. That does not allow you to use the math functions and formulas, so make sure that you do not have that. So then following that, you would have your second restaurant, calories, fat, sodium, and protein. Then each restaurant should have a total line and a percent of nutrient goal line. So 4 restaurants, pretty much one on top of the other. If you have done it a little bit differently where you have them side by side, that's okay, as long as they are set up correctly, okay, and look basically like this. That's logical setup. Info recorded and formatted correctly. That's where I was showing you that you did not include any words inside your numbers and that you have listed out each specific item. Hyperlinks active and correct. So I went through hyperlinks together as a class. On your hyperlinks, what I'm looking for is that they are active and that they work. So I will click on them and make sure they open the correct nutritional information. Remember that you must have used the actual company's website for your nutritional information. You cannot just Google how many fat grams are in Orange Chicken Panda Bowl, okay, because you don't know that that's accurate. Make sure you are using the Panda Express website or whatever restaurant it is. So I'll check to make sure that those links work and that they exist for each one of your restaurants. Nutrient goals recorded accurately. Okay, we did this in class together. This is where I showed you the chart from the U.S. government that gave daily guidelines based on gender and age. So you should have on your spreadsheet daily nutritional goals for then your age and your gender. Then you should list out calories, fat, sodium, and protein, and you should have entered in the numbers that we looked at in class. 1,600 calories if you are female, 1,800 if you're male. We'll skip fat for now since it requires a formula. Sodium was 2,200 for both genders, and protein was 34 for both genders. To get the fat gram amount, it will be 53 if you are female, it will be 60 if you're male. But when I get to it, I am not just checking that number's there, I'm checking that you have done the correct formula, okay? So on fat grams, I'll be looking up here in the formula bar. What I need to see is a formula that is representative of this. So we take your calories that the chart said you were supposed to have times 0.3 and then divide that number by 9. So you'll notice on my example my calories that I'm supposed to have as a 12-year-old girl is listed in H3. Okay, so that's why in my fat gram formula it says equal sign H3 times 0.3 divided by 9. Wherever your calorie goal is listed in your spreadsheet is what cell number you will have here. Okay, so double check that yours is correct. Should come up with 53 if you're female, 60 if you're male. Okay, function sum for your total. So over here on your spreadsheet, your totals for each restaurant, I'm going to check to make sure that you use the sum function, equal sign sum, and then the range of what you're adding up for each nutrient. On mine, the range is B4 through B7 for my first restaurant. Okay, and then you could have used autofill to go across. So I will check each one to make sure you are adding up the correct cells across here. And I'll check that for each restaurant. So make sure that you have your range correct for your total line all the way around. Okay, then I will check these formulas, your percentage of daily goal, and your fat gram conversion. I just showed you the fat gram conversion where we did the calories times 0.3 divided by 9, so you can check that. The percentage of daily goal, we did this step by step in class, but let me talk you through it again. Here's my first restaurant. This is the calories section. What I am checking is that you did the formula correct. So I'm looking up here in your formula bar. What this requires to get your percent of nutrient goal is you're going to take the total calories in this meal and divide it by the total calorie goal for a day for your gender and age. So in this case, I would be taking 1,090, that's the calories I have in this Panda Express meal, divided by 1,600. Since this is a spreadsheet, instead of typing in the numbers to do the math, I'm going to use a formula. So my formula looks like this, equal sign B8, that's where my total calories is, slash for divided by, H3 is in my spreadsheet where the total calories is. Now remember, you can't just copy my cell addresses. Your numbers could be in different locations on your spreadsheet. So you have to pay attention to where your numbers are. Okay? Same thing with fat. When I come over here, in order to get my percent of fat that this meal has, of my goal, I'm going to take the total fat grams of this meal, which is 39, and I'm going to divide it by the total fat grams that the goal is for me as a 12-year-old girl for a day. So it would be 39 divided by 53. So my cell for 39 is C8. So my formula looks like this, equal sign C8 slash H4 for my total fat grams. Okay? And then of course you have to use the percent key to format that and then decrease any decimal places that show up. You should have no decimal places. So each one of these is done the same way. Sodium is your total sodium, whatever cell that's in, divided by the goal. Protein is the total protein divided by the goal. Okay? Make sure they look like percents with no decimals. And that should be the case for each restaurant that you have that done. Okay, number formatting is appropriate. That's where your numbers just should not have any words in them. Okay. We're going to skip. We did not do conditional formatting in this semester, so I just grade that out. You don't have to worry about that. Graphs show relevant information. Graph scale is appropriate. Appropriate graph details included. Okay, so this is the graphing section. So on the graphing, what you wanted to be sure that you did was choose information that could be on the same graph. Okay, so Examples include, and I'm just going to scroll up a little bit on this sheet from what we talked about in the video on graphing. Okay, if you are going to compare things, you have to make sure that they make sense to be compared together. So fat grams and protein grams could be on the same graph, but you would not include fat, which is measured in grams, and sodium, which is measured in milligrams. That would not be appropriate. Then I'm also just looking that you have a nice title, that you have a horizontal and vertical axis, that you have, this particular one doesn't, my example should have it, but you also want data labels, so it's easy to see the results in your column or bar graphs, okay? Remember that data labels can be found in the series section on edit graphs, okay? And I'm just going to scroll back down to the grade sheet. Hopefully that's not making you dizzy. Okay, complete sentences and correct conventions that report your findings and interpret your findings. So you're telling me highs and lows, and then you're going to be graded on if you explain how this may or may not change your behavior. If it doesn't, that's okay, but you want to tell me that in your paragraph, okay? So complete sentences and correct conventions. You should be writing this like you would write for your ELA class, okay? So an example of that, let me switch over, okay? And we went over this in detail on the paragraph video, but what you want to make sure you do is you first tell me what you studied, and then you tell me what you learned, and then explain how this might change your behavior, okay? I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, and you can always pause the video and read this in detail, but notice that each paragraph here, I am explaining what I researched in the first one, showing interesting facts I discovered in the second, and then in the third paragraph, I kind of talk about what I might change to eat healthier. There was a simple thing I could do at Chipotle that would take out a lot of fat grams and be a healthier choice. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for step by step on your assignment when I grade it. Okay, please see me if you have any questions before you turn it in.